Welcome to Distributed Systems series. In this lecture that we will understand what is sharding. So in the previous lecture that we saw what is replication, also we saw what is cap theorem. So in this lecture that we will see and understand what is sharding. Sharding is a technique used in distributed system to distribute the data into multiple machines to improve the scalability. So why we have to sort the data? First, single machine has a finite capacity, so we cannot store huge amount of data. I mean infinite amount of data into the single machine. If we have to store the ever increasing data in the application, then we have to find some way to distribute the data into multiple machines. That's the only way to handle more requests and huge amount of data. So how to sort the database or cache, how to build the distributed system using sharding. So let's consider the same example, the previous example that we've seen. So we are going to build a simple key value store. It's based on, so we will store the key and we will retrieve the key. So the corresponding objects will be returned from this key value DB. Let's call it the key value store. Key value store or key value DB. Whenever the client sends a key value data into this DB, it will write into the single machine. Let's consider this is a single machine setup, so it's not a distributed system, and reads from this machine the key value DB. So client is here. Client writes the data into the key value DB and reads the data from the key value DB. So how the key value DB looks like. So for example, we have a key called name1, and the value will be some kind of object that contains the metadata of name1. Name2 value will be name2 object of name2. So this is how the data is stored in this key value DB. So this is not a distributed system, this is a single machine setup. So there is a finite amount of data that we can store in this DB. So if we want to increase the amount of data that we have to store, if you want to handle the larger number of requests, so we have to go for a sharding approach as a technique used to distribute the data into multiple machines. Here, single key value DB process or machine we have a multiple setup. Now the data is distributed into multiple machines. Now our setup can store the data up to 4 times the single key value DB. Now the read and write request data can be write and read from multiple machines. So the client now can read and write from to the multiple DBs. So it can read from here, it can write here, it can write here, it can write here. So now the single client can write here, 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 and here. It can access all those DBs. Also, we can distribute the data into multiple DBs so that now the entire cluster has the 1 by 4th. The entire cluster has the 4 machines. So each machine has a 1 by 4th of the entire data that the cluster distributed system can store. This is a key value DB. This is what is called sharding. It's applicable to any database. So if you want to increase the write throughput, or if you want to handle more requests for our application, it could be a key value DB, it could be MySQL DB, or it could be any database, so that we can add more machines and set up our database in a way that data is distributed across all those machines. So this is a sharding technique, and it is used in most databases. By default, some databases provide the sharding technique. For example, Cassandra, it provides the sharding technique so that data is distributed across all the machines. So sharding is a technique that is used in distributed systems to distribute the data across multiple machines. So how it does that? So let's say that we have a client and we have some key value that we have to store. So how the client knows which machine to store which objects? So client apply some kind of hashing function here. Hash of key mod the number of machines. Here n is the number of machines. So it will find the machines and make the request to store the machine or store the data or retrieve the data. So this is a simple basic hash function that can be used to shard the data into multiple machines. But we can use other approach also. So we can have a metadata somewhere and find the machines based on the metadata. But the main thing is that sharding is a technique that is used to distribute a system to distribute the data across multiple machines for scalability and performance, and also for availability. Even if some node fails, this one, so we have a 78% of the data available. 3 by 4 of the machines are available to serve the read and write request. So this not only scales but also improves the availability, but comes with the complexity. So we will see later what are the complexities that arise in sharding. But yeah, sharding is a technique that distributes the data across multiple machines.